Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also hit that bell for updates on videos and shenanigans by Smarvy Smart. Now enjoy the video. What's going on, guys? Smarvy Smart. We're back here with another video, and another great episode of Arrow just got put in the books. We saw the return of the hood version of the Arrow. We saw the return of Prometheus. We even had a couple of flashbacks and revisiting old times. So let's go ahead and get in on this, man. So at the beginning of this episode, Oliver and Quentin are in a meeting with one of the councilmen, I assume. And he actually, we later find out, is in line with Diaz. And when he shakes Oliver's hand, vertigo goes into his system. So now Oliver is experiencing hallucinations and his conscience is all messed up. And it actually causes him to snap at his son and also get in a fight with Felicity. So things get pretty interesting. So I was happy to see that not only the hood version of the Arrow returned this season, but also Prometheus. Now, one thing I will say is that Prometheus probably had about 7 to 8 minutes of screen time this episode. And in those 7 to 8 minutes, his villain dialogue, his sadistic humor was way better than any villain this season has done. I mean, he pretty much made this episode. He was a better villain in 7 to 8 minutes than Caden, James, and Diaz have been the entire season. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of raving about Diaz later because don't get me wrong, as far as fighting, he's not really the best villain. I mean, we haven't seen his fighting skills, but mind games and city control, he's pretty top notch. But there you can't lie, Prometheus pretty much made this episode, especially with the sadistic humor. One of my favorite things he said was when Oliver was having the hallucination about Laurel Lance. He was like, how could you let her become the Black Canary in the first place? She was a lawyer, a couple of self-defense classes, and you're ready to take on the mantle and fight crime. I mean, that was pretty funny, and it's pretty true. Don't get me wrong, the Black Canary was a great hero, but Prometheus always had a point when it came to being a villain. You know, Oliver does have some evil in him. And when it comes to villains, I'm not saying Prometheus was Oliver's greatest villain, but he's obviously one of his greatest fears, considering that the vertigo made his conscience picture him up. When it comes to the person who really brought out the mental in Oliver, Prometheus has to be on the top of that list. So with vertigo being in Oliver's system the entire episode, it didn't take me long to grasp the message they were trying to send. With the combination of revisiting Laura's death, the return of Prometheus, and even the combination of John leaving last week, and also the things that he said, it's obvious that they're trying to say that Oliver getting people involved in this whole Arrow crusade has affected a whole bunch of people's lives, and that he should have just kept the mantle with his, like, you know, just him being his own hero, no team, no backup. And you know, I kind of agree with that, I kind of don't, because I mean, a lot of lives have been changed. I mean, Laurel's dead, his mother is dead, John and Felicity's lives has changed, William's mother is dead. So I mean, it's kind of right, but then again, there's nothing wrong with having a team behind you. However, I mean, by the end of the episode, he did tell Felicity that he wanted to go at this alone. And you know, I can't too much blame him, because with Diaz on the loose, this is something Oliver has to do on his own. With that being said, if Oliver does go back to working alone, I sure hope he brings the hood back permanently, because I mean, I don't know, that's probably my favorite suit out of all the suits he's ever had. I mean, it seems so much easier to have. He seems so much of a better fighter when he has the hood on. I was glad that he brought it back. I felt like I was watching season 1 Arrow when I was watching this episode. I mean, great action, it was great fighting. So I really hope that he brings this suit back momentarily. And I'm really glad that he's planning on going back at it alone. When you think of the original Team Arrow, we all think of John, Felicity, and Oliver. But momentarily, and obviously, the original Team Arrow is Oliver alone. So hopefully this helps him defeat Diaz, figure out what he's doing. I mean, it can't be too hard. But to add to that, Diaz did do a lot of succeeding during this episode, with Oliver being impeached as the mayor. Now, one thing I will say about Diaz is that he's not one of the best fighting villains Oliver has ever faced. Oliver has definitely faced better, but it's just the mind games and the manipulation he has over the city that makes him such a great villain. And when it comes to mind games and mentalness, it's like Oliver, that's his weakness. It's the same thing with basically what Barry's going through this season. Barry's used to fighting speedsters, and even though the speedsters he's faced like Thawne and Zoom are pretty good at mind games, they're not as good at mind games and controlling things as DeVoe is. And that's one thing Barry and Oliver are struggling with this season. You can't punch and fight your way out of these things. You're going to have to think your way out of these things. No pun intended, considering that DeVoe's name is the Thinker. But back to Diaz, it's like his mind games and his plan and the way he manipulates the town. Every single high-ranking official in Starling City is pretty much aligned with him. How do you even get to him when that happens? So, considering that Oliver's by himself now, I hope he figures out a way. But me personally, I still haven't figured out a way how to stop Diaz. But I'm pretty sure it can't be that hard considering compared to what Barry's going through with the metahuman powers of DeVoe. But still, Diaz is turning into a pretty good villain. Might not be the best fighting one, but as far as mind games, he's pretty much the top-notch dog. But guys, I'm not going to talk a hole in your head. So tonight was another great episode of Arrow, the third great episode in a row. You know, when this season first started, after about 5 episodes, I thought this season was going to suck. And I'm not saying this season is spectacular, but after the last 3 to 4 episodes, it's actually turning out and shaping out a lot better than I thought it would, which says a lot. So I hope they continue on this path for the next 5 episodes. I don't know how many episodes they have this season, but if they keep this up, maybe this season might not turn out so bad. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think about what I said in the comment section. And guys, for more Arrow videos, hit that subscribe button. Stay out of trouble, guys.